intentions, in my opinion. As you can see, Nada right now getting somewhat boxed in, and those vultures kind of meandering out. No detection here, so those tanks need to be careful. Sieging up to try to back those vultures off. 2 free hits right there, and a couple. Wow, the tanks just kind of moving up. It looks like to the siege tech. I think if they pop them, they might be able to single hit those mines. But the question is how close will they be when that happens? That barracks still floating up. No, there is a comsat, so Nada did in fact get detection off. I'm not sure if he comsatted, if he got. Well, I've got to assume he's got that second comsat down. Now he's going to try to push Nada back. I'm sorry, Kanata back just a little bit at a time. Try to reestablish some map position here, and he's doing an excellent job of doing so. Perhaps they're just the reinforcement route, but right there, Nada is going to have to back off because those tanks on the upper ridge. He doesn't have any dropships to push that, and he's just trying to clear some mines here. He does have a superior tank force on the ground and a lower reinforcement route, but still with that 2/3 miss chance, I gotta assume that Kanata has sufficient enough micro to fight against that. Level 1 weapons already up for Nada. I'm not sure where Kanata's up in that. No, I'm sorry, not level 1 weapons. Keep in mind that armory went down a lot earlier for Kanata. I expected level 1 weapons out sooner for him, and that could be a big shifting point in this match. Again, with that 6 factory alongside. Now it looks like Nada is trying to push down. He's trying to establish some position to try to take this 6 o'clock position and try to claim some territory for his own. Kanata just running alongside with those vultures, trying to create, I wouldn't call this a containment. I would say he's just trying to delay Nada and keep Nada aware of the large vulture force he has. Look for, and I've got to assume at some point in this, he's going to try to pick a hole here with those fast vultures and try to do a run-by, basically, with a large attack force and try to rake over that secondary, but he needs to be careful that he doesn't leave any part of his base vulnerable as well for Nada to do the exact same thing to him. But Nada looks like being a little bit more of the passer, Kanata being more of the aggressor here, and really the key to this at this moment is Kanata needs to be aggressive. He needs to take an attack here. It looks like a starport going up, producing a Wraith. I don't think Kanata does have any anti-air at this stage, but Kanata taking a base right now. It looks like maybe to take that barracks out, but essentially with that 1 factory down, even just pumping troops, if Nada can hold this within a smaller unit force, if Kanata does not push forward with additional production and he allows Nada to get that additional base up, he is going to end up economically behind. It looks like he is actually taking an expansion to 12 o'clock position as well. So not falling behind too much, and I guess the upgrades will be the other factor. But as you can see, a much larger force for Kanata, but if Nada gets that base down sooner and can just try to equalize that difference in production, that'll definitely be a shifting point into the mid-game, or I should say the late mid-game. I'd still call this mid-game. There's a Wraith being produced now. And just an epic thing of just epic map position. Posturing, as you can see, looks like a control tower going down to produce a dropship. This could just be an that Wraith could just be anti-dropship play. It looks like that barracks just kind of floating out to get a little bit of look at what he's going up against. Counter mines. Ooh, 1 mine does go off in that tank, leaving it very, very weak. So it just looks like 2 hits from a vulture could probably take out it. If not, I'm trying to think again how many hit points are left on our tank when that happens. Don't play Terran very often. I played Zerg back in the day. Terran is the one I just haven't played. Kanata sneaking up an expansion to the 12 o'clock position. He's free to do so again because he still maintains map control. Now those Wraith pushing up, able to pick away at those tanks. Doing a little bit of damage here. Vultures trying to push down there. It looks like they're going to try to breach. Some Goliaths pushing up, and it looks like one of the very carelessly those Wraith going to get taken out. I assume they're not hotkeyed. That was for only a single tank, and I'm not sure that was a good trade. Losing a lot of Vultures, losing 2 Wraith, and ouch, Kanata not drawing it back at all. Again, I don't think that was a very good trade. Now getting a dropship up. Looks like, I think that's the second armory. But still, I think that might be at 7 factories. Still at 6 factories at the very least. I see 6 on screen. I think there was a 7th up just to the left. We'll see if we get another look in the base momentarily. But Nada still maintaining pretty good control over his base. Kanata going for the larger troop count to try to maintain a kind of map control over the longer period. But Nada has a much larger economy now. So it's up to Kanata, really, I would say, to inflict some sort of economic damage at this stage. Actually, he's doing pretty savvy as far as the base production goes as well. And again, he has 1 more factory up over Nada. Nada, though, has that dropship. And maybe if he does some economic damage here, or at least tries to create some sort of breach, looks like an engineering bay going out in the field, perhaps to establish some turrets. And I think that the game plan for Kanata might be, okay, I'm just going to keep a larger unit count off those 6 factories through the mid-game. I know I'm ahead, and I'm probably permanently ahead at this stage. And that's the other issue with those dropships, is they're going to be running across mines no matter where they go. So Nada's going to be able, Kanata's going to see it coming no matter what. Unless Nada has the presence of mind to go across that 6 o'clock position, go across the very bottom edge along the left-hand side, left-hand side of the screen, and then come up all the way around. And he might be doing that. It looks like those vultures might be scouting for that result. Nada trying to take a quick expansion here at the 6 o'clock and use that dropship as a screen. But it looks like Nada, again, I haven't seen those dropships in a little bit. He might be trying to use those dropships to prevent any sort of map position that he might be able to take across that 6 o'clock. And he is ferrying troops out there. So, yeah, it looks like, no, he is going to try to end around. No, I'm sorry, he's using them a little bit more defensively. I thought he was going to jut out to the left, but using them as more of a defensive grouping to make sure that Kanata can't push forward with any additional troop position here, initially at least, and we'll see if he goes for a counter drop right here. But again, I can't see him threading through that visual range of Kanata. Kanata's just got so much visual information right here. He's going to run into something, whether it be vultures, whether it be mines. You can see that wall of yellow, and it looks like he's going to run across that. There are some turrets established across the middle of the field, so it looks like we'll see if he goes chasing after that. This will give, it looks like, some counter drop ships up in the air, just 2, so that will be a troop advantage in Nada's favor, but he's going to be inside the base, and those vultures down below might be a little bit more difficult. And this is brilliant from Nada, establishing that upper left-hand position. He's going to try to create an entrenchment right there. He has level 1 weapons, and he's going to try to cut off a base from Kanata, basically the next base that Kanata might want to take or establish, and then try to isolate that for the rest of the game, essentially. And we'll see if, and basically delay that while he goes 1 expansion up. Right now, I believe we're even. I think Kanata might be ahead economically. He's definitely ahead in troop count, I would say, just because, again, going for 6 factories early rather than that 5, and Nada not able to establish an additional expansion preemptively, I would say. But going all the way around the map to avoid the map positioning. A lot of factories down now for Nada. We'll see the count on the opposite side. So it looks like we see, I think that was an 8 count. Didn't get I should have paid more attention there. But I think that's an 8 count there on Kanata's part, and I think there was an additional, I think that might be a 9 count on the opposite side for Nada. 4 dropships now pushing out, so counter drop going out into this bottom left-hand corner to do some damage, and there's not enough resistance here to really stop that. So, but it looks like a counter drop already moving up. Just 2 Goliaths in position. The tank's being dropped a little bit out of position, but it looks like the no weapons 1 upgrade on the opposite end. That's a pretty sizable advantage for Nada, because even though he has a smaller troop count at this stage, I think he might have evened it up with that right there, actually, between everything that and everything else. And also taking the high ground right there, and between the turrets that Kanata has been building rather than Nada not. I wish I had a supply counter right here. I'd be able to confirm that. Actually, at this stage, it's probably evened out just because of the attrition of time and the additional factories going up. Looks like Charm Booster is being upgraded for Nada, and going to be able to take down that engineering bay and make sure it doesn't scout. But that weapon's a sizable advantage, I would say, especially using the drop, and also as far as containment in that upper left-hand corner. He's going to basically, Kanata's going to have to use a larger troop count than he would